Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. Hope you guys are all doing well. Manchester United obviously went through last night against AC Milan in the Europa League, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. We are here to talk about Jose Mourinho, Manchester United's former manager, Chelsea's former manager, Real Madrid's former manager, Inter Milan, Porto's former manager, and of course Spurs' current manager. We are discussing Jose Mourinho today, and don't worry, for you fans of Jose Mourinho, I'm not here to dig him out, take the piss, have a laugh and dance on his grave. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to just have a chat about Jose Mourinho because it is an interesting one and it's an interesting topic, especially at Spurs at the moment when you consider what's going on with them, where they sit in the league, not good enough, where they sit, you know, in the Europa League, knocked out, not good enough. They do have a final coming up though, in the League Cup. And we have seen some games where Spurs have been brilliant, but more often than not, it's been Spurs looking drab, tired, lack of creation, lack of ideas, lack of hope, conceding goals left, right and centre. It hasn't been the Spurs we've come to know over the last couple of years, or the Jose Mourinho sides that we have come to know over his career. It doesn't look close to that. And when they crashed out against Zagreb, despite holding a 2-0 lead from the first leg, you've got to say that's quite damning. To lose 3-0 away to Zagreb, look, all due respect to Zagreb, I thought they were incredible on the night. Some of the goals that they scored were amazing. But it's Dinamo Zagreb. All Spurs had to do over 120 minutes was score one goal and they were through. With the likes of Kane and Dembele, all these players in the team, they weren't able to do it. So you have to ask, what is going on there? Has he lost the dressing room? Has he lost another dressing room? Is this heading one way and to Jose Mourinho being sacked? Now, Jose's interview yesterday after the Europa League game, it showed signs of a man that was properly dejected, disappointed. But it also, you know, it was a sad sight to see that from Jose Mourinho. An 8-9 minute long interview where he's continuously reinforcing the fact that when I talk about my team, I'm including me. So he was trying to be careful with his words as to not upset anybody. And I suppose that's something that we've rarely seen from Jose Mourinho. He usually is happy to stick the boot in, criticise some of his players, you know, blame everybody else but him. But he seemed hesitant to do that, and I think he is probably now aware of how damaging that could be, although we've seen moments of him over the last couple of months calling out players and criticising players. After that defeat yesterday, it was interesting that he didn't fully go in two-footed. If anything, it was just a little one-footed tackle from him onto his players. But he said, I was taking this seriously. I wanted to win this. I don't know whether they did. And that's a damning verdict from Jose Mourinho to his side as well. But what has gone on? What's gone wrong? Is he to blame? Because, I mean, we've seen this everywhere he's gone. But Spurs fans, some Spurs fans might say, we saw this from this Spurs team just at the end of Poch's reign. Now, I do think Jose Mourinho has to take responsibility for some of this. And we know as Man United fans what's gone on there. We kind of know that this was coming. It's not even a I told you so situation, but we kind of knew this was coming. We've seen similar patterns to what we saw in his second spell at Chelsea. Man United, you know, minus the trophies. At Spurs, it's kind of happened a lot quicker. I think that's because you've had the big break due to the coronavirus. But also, it's just happened so much quicker because he hasn't had that initial success when he comes in. When you have initial success, or you win a trophy, you get something in the bag, like he did at United, like he's done at Chelsea. When you have that initial success, you've then got something for the dressing room to hold on to. Something that's in the back of their mind that maybe when they're not agreeing with you, they're going to cling to as something that, hold on, this man can get me trophies. But what we've seen of Jose Mourinho from leaving Chelsea, from leaving Man United, from leaving Spurs, or sorry, from being at Spurs, is that he's going to lose confidence in his own message, in his own ability, but also those around him. Like, footballers talk, you know what I mean? Players talk, you know, coaches talk, everyone talks. It'd be naive to think that they don't. And they will be aware of what went wrong at Man United, what went wrong at Chelsea. And they will start to see the signs earlier, players as well. And I think that's what we're also seeing in this Spurs side. And you're seeing Spurs fans have the same arguments as Manchester United fans. The squad's not good enough. He needs new players. They're not fighting for the shirt. You know, I saw people yesterday taking a picture of Harry Kane, one of his chances, and saying, he scores this, we're through, it's not Jose's fault. But ultimately, the dressing room atmosphere, the way you're playing, you know, that's the responsibility of the manager. The responsibility of the manager is to have his players up for that game. The manager is part of that team. Like Jose was so keen on, making sure that was heard in his interview yesterday, because I think he's fearful of losing the dressing room or losing more of that dressing room. And you know what happens when that's going to come around. There's only going to be one winner. It's not going to be Jose Mourinho, apart from his bank balance. And the payouts that he's picking up, you see a cycle. You're seeing the same cycle. It's a good business method, to be fair. But you're seeing it. Jose gets bitter, blames the players, takes digs at everyone. You know, before the football gets worse, the results get worse. You think you might have a little bit of hope here and there because 1 or 2 results go your way. But then you have a big problem like this. Reminded me of Sevilla for United. You have a big problem like this and it magnifies everything. And I think this will be a big factor in what happens with Mourinho, for sure. But you can't tell me this squad's playing to its full potential either. You can't tell me that. You know, Reguilon at left back, such a good player. Like, alright, Eric Dyer, probably I don't rate him that much, but Jose Mourinho wanted to sign him. You know, Davinson Sanchez, Alderweireld, alright, they're not world class, still very good centre halves. You know, when you look around at the Premier League and what some other managers are doing with lesser teams, it does make you ask questions of Jose Mourinho. And when you look at that front four, Kane, Bale, Son, Ali if you want, Ndombele, you know, Lucas Moura, all these players are top quality players, yet the football you're seeing is not good enough. And that's down to the manager, who I believe, you know, football's moved on. One of the things you saw with Sir Alex Ferguson was a man that was always keen on evolving, whether it was bringing in a new coach, a new assistant manager. You know, he had to evolve. There was a period of time where it just wasn't working for us in Europe. He had to evolve, change his game. And Jose Mourinho seems too stubborn to do that. He seems too stubborn to do that. And tactically, look, I think tactically at times, it'll work for him. He'll get it right in a game. But over the course of a season, with those tactics in every game, whether it's Man City or Brighton, with those kind of negative tactics, holding on to leads, we've seen it with Spurs, 1-0 against Brighton, 1-0 against Fulham, 1-0 against Newcastle, try and hold on to the lead, you concede, and that will drain the dressing room of confidence in the manager's ability. You know, big results will boost it and make him think this is the guy, but then the negative results that just chip away at you have the likes of Harry Kane thinking, what am I doing? You know, I don't mind making these sacrifices when we're getting good results and that, but we're not even being able to beat Brighton, Newcastle and Fulham. And slowly but surely the rest of the dressing room starts to think, this ain't the way. And you can see that at the moment, that they're just not responding to the tactics that he's giving them. They're not responding to his message. And he also mentioned in his interview that I let the players know what the problem could be if we didn't approach this in the right manner. And we've seen the Amazon Prime thing. And it kind of makes you think, like, is he too, like, saying to a group of players that should be going out to beat Zagreb, let's be real. Like, you could go to them in a whole, like, saying to them constantly, this could go wrong, you know. This is gonna, if you like, though, it's getting the negativity spiraling in their head. There's no positivity coming out of it. No, let's smash these the same way. You're getting them thinking negatively, and they're probably thinking, why are we thinking this way going into these games? And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You start telling them the bad things that happen. The bad things will happen because they'll just be constantly thinking about them. And I think what we're seeing at the moment, yes, there are faults with the Spurs squad, but what we're seeing is the result of what Mourinho has created through his decision making, through the way he plays football, through everything. And you've gradually seen a personality change in Jose as well, where he, you know, at United particularly, he became this bitter man. Now at Spurs he's trying to be different, but you can tell it's not him. It's not him. And it's a sad thing to see, man, because he is done. I think, yes, he might win a League Cup or a minor domestic trophy here or there, but the Premier Leagues, the Champions Leagues, is done. I don't see him winning one of those big trophies again. He just hasn't got the man management to be able to do it. And whilst the tactics will work sometimes, they're not good enough over the course of a season anymore for these big teams. Maybe you can go to a smaller team with a smaller mentality and you can drill that into them. But players that expect to play football, expect to score goals, expect to attack, they're not going to respond to the messages that are coming from him, and they're not going to respond to the man management, especially in this modern era when people are all different and Jose is just expecting them to be robotic. You know, look what he's done to Dele Alli. You think the rest of the dressing room respond well to that? We saw it at Man United. You can't, you pick on the wrong players, you fucked it for yourselves. Paul Pogba wasn't a problem in the dressing room. He tries to pick an argument with him in front of cameras. Like, he creates these issues for himself. Calling Bale out last couple of weeks ago about Instagram and all that. Yeah, he's played him a few times in recent weeks, but had you played him earlier in the season, he'd be fitter now. Maybe you got a different prospects on your hands. So you do feel like he shoots himself in the foot sometimes. And the one thing we haven't got yet with all of this is clashes with the board. We've had the, you know, calling out players. We've had some of the negative interviews. We've had the bad results, the bad tactics. We haven't had the clashes with the board yet, and that will come. I think that's right around the corner. But unfortunately, for me anyway, and I hate to say I told you so, looks like Mourinho is done, and it looks like it won't be long until Spurs sack him. I imagine that's not far around the corner at all, but they've got a big payout on their hands if they do, so maybe they try to hold on a little bit. The thing is, you got that cup final in the bank. Somehow you beat Man City, got a trophy in the bag. Maybe things look different for you, but even then, being where you are, winning a League Cup with Spurs, is that good enough? With this Spurs team? Probably not. Probably not. And I just think, yeah, matter of time until he's sacked. And it's a bit sad still. Look, sometimes I'll have a dig at people who have tried to claim Mourinho is still one of the special ones, or the special one. But him personally, I ain't got nothing against him. And it is sad to see someone that was at the top of their game just slowly decline and not be able to grasp it back. The sand's just draining through his fingers. Sad sight, but when you get in those fat payouts, I'm sure it's not too. But what next for him? International management maybe? I think that could be good for him. You spend less time with the players, your man management and your abrasive attitude isn't going to rub off on him as badly. Your tactics in smaller periods, like I think that could be the one for him, international management, but I think top club level, Mourinho was finished. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you're keeping it locked. Like, comment, share and subscribe. Like I said, we're going to be doing little bits of different stuff. We'll keep the United content coming, but I'm also going to be doing things like this as well. See you later.